his son planned to expose the ugly truth about his father's assassination, his small plane plunged into the ocean, killing all on board.
It's funny how we robbed all your silly cock smokers out of all of your days. I'm laughing down my sleeves at your slobs cause you don't even notice you're slaves. Everything is in place for the scientific dictatorship coming. You can bet your gums it's here with a kiss. When we complete the cashless society control, quick kid expect to hear some jargon similar to this.
Stop where you are, don't shoot your fucking lip. Or shoot you in the cheek, son, I need to check your chip. This ain't a fucking game like the videos you played. It's martial fucking law and the city's all ablaze. It ain't gonna be funny if you didn't let them chip you. A passport is just a piece of paper with a picture. We need something more concrete, something better. Don't try to run, son, cause you know I have to come and get ya. And I possess all the tools I need, whether your name is John Smith or Abdul Rashid. It's been a natural disaster, nature's cruel indeed. There's no escaping your master, break the rules, you bleed. We got a lot of willful idiots and it's well known. If they don't follow orders and they wind up like Wellstone. Many tragedies can happen, take your pick up. Plane crash, suicide, heart attack. You haven't seen the light of day. What makes you think you have the right of way? Us folks up here, we call you slaves. To exit Plato's cave, we made you all afraid.
I don't operate by the man-made laws that you respect. They call me carte blanche cause I got a blank check.
And I can write it to whomever I wish, to murder whomever I tell them at the flip of a switch. Kiss the boys goodbye for your cornbread war. You won't see them poor young boys no more.
Cause even if they survive the war, their brains will be fried after 5 bloody tours.
Every day a soldier commits suicide. Post-traumatic stress and depleted uranium collide.
They're mind fucking our boys and our girls, hell bent on destroying the world, and they have. Haven't you noticed? Or do they have all your attention focused on the hocus pocus? You haven't seen the light of day. What makes you think you have the right of way? My people, now we call you slaves. We made you all afraid to exit Plato's cave.
Payday Monsanto, Plato's Cave. We don't hear about all of the suicides in the military. That should be a pretty big story, huh? Should be a huge story, but we don't hear anything about that, right?
And then they open up the page 321 of Morals and Dogma. You ever read that book? You know, where it says,
I guess they cut that one off. Unless I did that. No, yeah. So anyway, welcome to another edition of In Case You Missed the Bullshit in the New Normal in Night America. It's very hard for me these days to get on here and do another broadcast of what should be apparent that this is one of the biggest fake news stories of all time. The COVID-19. Complete and totally overreaction, overrated. It's not what they say that it is. Del Bigtree said yesterday, I wonder if, actually on Thursday, I wonder if the people that died were the people that received the flu shot. that received a flu shot. And I was posting that on social media. I was posting that on his broadcast, his Highwire, thehighwire.com. I was saying the people that died, the elderly people that died, were all, these elder care facilities are overrun with healthcare. It's a main target of healthcare driven injections and flu shots. You know, that commercial that's out there for the pneumonia, that particular type of pneumonia that if you get the shot, you probably get the pneumonia. So largely these people were murdered. Okay, this wasn't a natural thing. I have to change my headset here. I'm going to keep talking while I'm doing it. So yeah, these people were murdered. They were murdered by the elder care facility, and this was a big test. This was a huge test to see what would happen, like what's going to happen here. And I think what we found out, that they've been injecting and destroying immune systems for a long time. So the mass culling is that particular type of weapon. It's going to give this enhanced immunity, something that Del Bigtree and other people have spoken about, where your immune system overreacts, cytokine storm, and you're dead. Your body kills itself. And I think that's what we've seen. I think that's what was happening, and then they classify it as a new virus. You could get that. These people could get sick with anything. They could get a cold, and then next thing you know, they're toast. Does 5G have anything to do with it? Who knows? I think that is obviously a possibility, strong possibility that's taken place. And so, if these people, the people in New York City were dying or expressing this hypoxia thing, like they couldn't breathe or they couldn't get oxygen or something like that, that could have largely been as a result of the flu shot. And you notice that they're pushing the flu shot even more, making it mandatory in places. And they're going to lose that fight too. They're going to lose that fight. And just like the warp speed thing, all of these issues, all of these injuries, vaccine injuries from Johnson & Johnson, and just across the board, I think there's been like 5 or 6 of them reported. So the system is kind of morphing now, where it's reporting, there's been this, and then there's been that, moving towards a specific outcome. One being, they never come up with one. That's, kind of, at this point, that's kind of like, would they not come up with one? They could say, at this juncture, they could say, there's too many things, we're going to keep working on it. And then, you hear the story and all the information about, it takes like 3 or 4 years to create a vaccine. And none of them have been safety tested, none of them at all. So all that stuff's coming out now. So where's that taking us? Where is that putting us? We could also have a situation where, I was listening to the conservative radio in the area, and, they have the a conservative morning show. They have a, they'll have another guy, and then, Rush Limbaugh at 12, and then 12 to 3. And then from 3 to 6, you'll have the Zio leprechaun, Sean Hannity, and then the Levin guy, Mark Levin, the great one. And he's on there, and he was just like, they're talking about the vaccine possibly coming out at the end of October. It would be a shame if Trump had everything to do with this ability to get this vaccine out, but then it would be at the end of November, and he would have a possibility that he were to lose the election. That would be a shame. No, that any vaccine needed to be created for this is an absolute joke, and a farce of reality. Another thing Big Tree said was, in order to get some of the upfront, up close stuff, you really have to kind of watch the program. And what I'm going to try to do is put the video site that I do. They're over on BitChute. You can just type in the High Wire over there, but that doesn't take you directly to I found that it doesn't take you directly to, that week's, upload or transfer of their video to BitChute. I think they were removed from YouTube or something. I'm not exactly sure. But I'll put my, in the description of the online, I'll put my video site, so that you can go over there it's over at joshwhotv.com, Josh Who TV. And I don't think that stands for World Health Organization, but it's very, very interesting. Before I forget, on Prime Video, there is a World Health Organization a documentary that questions their efficacy, it questions their legitimacy. And that's kind of good to see that's on there. There's a lot of documentaries over there. There's one about Goldman Sachs, how a German something or other immigrant, or I forget what it was, in 1870 or 1880. Over 100 years ago, this Goldman Sachs was created, and of course, their Governor Murphy and a lot of New Jersey governors, with the exception of Chris Christie, I want to say, maybe they had something to do with putting him in there at the time, because it just doesn't happen in a place like New Jersey. That just doesn't happen. Pennsylvania has this Wolf guy. Prior to that, I forget exactly who it was, but I think that it was a conservative, but what does that even mean these days? These people are, rhinos or dinos, and they largely just do not, really kind of do the things that they say that they're going to do. They don't do, their actions don't reflect their titles, things like that. I think everybody across the board is liberal about some things and conservative about others. So you could really just kind of be like 50-50 on, but then just kind of lean towards, I mean, I would think people now, if you're looking at this and you're agreeing with the absolute insanity and the hatred, the hate-filled rhetoric that's gone on over the last 4 years, you know, again, and I'm not like a super Trump supporter at all. I acknowledge things that might be good, but then you have to kind of look behind the scenes and say, like, let's defund the World Health Organization, but then give Gavi $1.7 billion. Defund World Health Organization, who put this terrorist douchebag in there as the head of it, who covered up epidemics and probably, just a yes man, just a front yes man who they said, hey, we'll do this for you and that, and they compromise them. They flash, big dollars in front of them, and then they do whatever it is that they're told to do. And we've seen over at the World Health Organization where the story's changed from day to day. The one woman comes out one day and says, hey, there's no asymptomatic spread. And then the next day it's like, oh yeah, there's totally, that was a false alarm. So I think people are looking at it, even people that are working for the World Health Organization are looking at it and saying, this is, something positive that they can, because they don't want to go through this stuff. They don't want to. They don't want to live this way. Nobody wants to live this way. And I say, if you are fearful, if you don't want to come out of your house, if you want to lock yourself away, do it. Do it. Go away. Never come out of the house. And these people are most likely, riddled with all kinds of malignancies as far as, their diet sucks. They don't, they probably believe that, that McDonald's is no better than, organic food is no better than McDonald's level nutrition. Just largely swaths of humanity out there that have absolutely no clue what's going on. They're media driven. You got a lot of people on the left that are really pushing the fear on this, but these same people talked about corporations, how corporations control the government. Corporations control, and mass media is a corporation, but now they're kowtowing to the mass media. Why? Because the mass media hates Trump. Largely hates Trump. Largely wants him to not be there anymore. So they're just flip-flopping, malleable fools. And there's possibly no coming back. And of course, they're going to be the same people that are going to say, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, just like we have to do it. Or, they want to do it. They want to get a shot. They want to get a vaccine. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be pure kerosene, but they want it, and they're going to want you to have it so that they're safe. And that's truly what it is. It's not about. And I think it was Tucker Carlson that pointed out the other night that the World Health Organization said at no time did we say that the mask was going to protect the person wearing the mask. Del Bigtree had two women who worked from OSHA, and said, no, the mask is bad. It's super bad to wear a mask if you're not sick, and even if you are. So that largely was not surprising. And it's not even confirmation bias. It's just the truth. Everybody looks for something that's going to confirm their bias. In this case, that's the unmitigated truth, man. And I think maybe we can pull that up here. Let's see what we got. I got to turn this night this night light is really fucking me up. It helps at night with your eyes, but then during the day, it's all, you got to find that right level, which is good. This laptop actually does that, which is good. It helps your eye holes. And so, yeah, if you go over to the highwire.com, you've got the latest it's a great website. It's got fact-based information in it. If you're in the Virginia area, they're doing a rally this weekend today. The masquerade at the CDC. The COVID narrative continues to unravel. Let's see what we got. More videos here of the two OSHA women there. He spoke with this one doctor that said that this is deadly, but we can treat it with steroids, with this particular inhalant. Honestly, what I think is kind of happening here is that we know that you can inject asthma. We know that can be done because we see people with asthma. A family member that had asthma as a child, and it was from a vaccine. And so my brother and I, we had a friend that lived nearby, and he had asthma, and he just died one summer, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Really good guy. Everybody loved him. Good dude. He was a musician. He wasn't like a super good musician, but he loved music. He loved performing and things like that. That's what I remember about him. And because I play and my family member plays, that it's, he died of complications from asthma. Now, was that a flu shot? Did he get a flu shot and then it worsened his asthma, and then all he had to do was get sick? All he had to do was get some kind of upper or lower respiratory thing, which can be a common thing every year when the body purges, every year when the body does its spring cleaning, or, germ theory is completely a theory, just like gravity is a theory. So if you get over the high wire, you'll see a lot of really, really hard-hitting information. Hard-hitting information. I sound like a douchebag. Let's see here. Go over to the news. He's got the Jackson report over there where they go over. These guys go over the whole vaccine thing and on all these topics with a fine tooth comb, man. They go through all of it. They see what's happening. Scott Atlas said that Fauci should be kind of held accountable when he was. I think that it was Tucker. I think was interviewing Scott Atlas, and so that's where all that stuff came about. I don't know. I'm trying to find this one particular video of the two OSHA women saying that no. Stop wearing the mask. It will make you sick, or if you get sick, you will be sick longer. It just goes on and on and on, man. And like even people that I've spoken with, they don't, and people that have done a lot of vaccine research and things like that, they don't. I'm finding it hard to fully trust. Anyone out there that's so-called, fighting mandated things like that. But it looks like that's what's going on here. It really does look like they're doing this ICAN, Informed Consent Action Network, ICAN, ICAN. These guys have fought lawsuits over things. They're trying to hold the FDA and some of these other organizations accountable. Del Bigtree was this executive producer for the doctors, so he has all these people. He even has a couple of the doctors that were on that program. I used to watch it and just laugh at it because they would sit there and they would just like indoctrinate. I was like, wow, this is just fucking indoctrination across the board. These women sitting home with newborn babies or housewives or whatever, just sitting there getting all this information. Oh, vaccines are safe, and just, stick them right in your retinal, stick the needle right up your rectum hole. And that's the best way to get the most efficacy of it. It just, all this just ridiculousness. And then Del, the William Thompson whistleblower, CDC, this was the trigger event that caused him to start questioning things and saying, of course, this is going to get reported. Of course, this autism report about, black males, infant males being more susceptible to the effects of this MMR vaccine. And then so next thing you know, Vaxxed 1, Vaxxed 2. So I got to believe somebody's doing something. I can't believe that this guy is just sitting there thinking, I'm fooling everybody, or I'm like, I'm a shill, or this or that. Okay. And so I think the thing here is that, and whether he believes it or if he just doesn't want to say it right up front because it sounds too like, oh my God, conspiratorial. But if he's sitting there talking about these coronavirus test, vaccine trial things that they were doing after SARS and after MERS, and that they injected these animals with this vaccine, and when they came in contact with a virus or something that made them sick, they died. And now he's saying, I wonder how many people that actually died from this got flu shots. Because that would go right there. That would be, okay, so they did that, and the test that was a success. When they found out that they could inject something, get these antibodies to appear, which is, the success of a vaccine, and then next thing you know, what happens? You get in contact with, and then you're dead. Okay? If he doesn't see that that's what's going on here now, he's thinking it, but he's afraid. He's kind of afraid to say it, that people are purposefully being murdered, and they've been purposefully murdered for a long time now, because vaccines going back hundreds and hundreds of years were always a way to fuck someone up. Evil has always existed. It always will exist. And it has to be neutralized. It has to be countered. Just a rush of consciousness here, because I want to do these podcasts, and I want to be able to put this information out. I want to be able to lead people to areas where they're going to get the best information. You don't have to listen to me. You don't even have to listen to me. Okay? I've got a video here of Greg. Everybody knows Greg, right? Greg's probably one of the smartest guys I know as far as entrepreneurship, things like that. Like I would say to him for years, like, yeah, they're coming for us. They're doing this. And he was like, and he didn't put a whole lot of, like, he knew that there was, evil out there, but I don't even think that he realized that they would do something like this. And I always said, and I've found myself saying to him, it's like, there's one thing going way overboard, like, people that, and I listened to Alex Jones for years, and I said a lot of things, and, that, made me very, very, kind of, listen, if this shit doesn't scare you, if this information doesn't fucking send fucking chills up your spine, you're probably fucking dead already in some aspect, some way, some form. This is the real fucking deal. And I said to him, and he said, overreacting to something like this information over the years can be just as bad as saying, I don't think that they would do this, I don't think that they would do that. Well, here we are. Greg made a great video. It's about a 12-minute long video for the Live Well APS. I'm sure that you guys have heard that. That's his work, his entrepreneurial work. It's the video is "Let the Cases Be Heard and Adjudicated: A Call to Action for Doctors." And I'm going to go over some things with the Tom Renz lawsuit. Apparently, even after the unconstitutionality of what has already been pointed out in Ohio, they're still fucking with people large scale. So that's what I got in one of the email updates from Tom Renz. I reached out to Greg. I'm not sure if he'll get back to me within this, but at least I'll be able to tell him that I'll play it at the end of the program. But it's a video. I'll put the video link in there so that you can share it. This is we're kind of. I hate to over dramatize it, but we're kind of in the fight for our lives. I'm kind of, how do I put this? For years, I know that we've lived in an illegitimate system. At least 2004 is when I started listening to Jones. And understanding that, and then I came to understand that he's giving a good portion of the truth, but then he's holding back and not saying critical, crucial things that could move things in a positive direction. Any number of times it was like, oh, we got a bombshell thing going on here. This is really gonna break the New World Order's back. It's really gonna be a big thing. Tune in. We're gonna really break this thing down. It's the New World Order's on its heels, and it never happened. None of it ever happened. It was just all his. Not all, but a good portion of it was just building the Jones legacy. Building his legacy. And then you find out that, through genealogical studies, and there's not too much information on Jones because that might not even be his real name. I don't even know. But what is glaringly apparent is that Jones is a member, his family is a member of the founders of, just like Barack Obama. And a lot of people don't even believe that. I was telling a guy the other day. I said, his name at birth was Barry Dunham. His real name is not. I said, first off, I said, do you believe that Barack Obama is his real name from birth? And he was like, no. And then I went to the DunhamHouse.com, DunhamHam, probably Lena Dunham, probably that whole family name. And that's why she's in movies and TV shows, because like Brad Pitt, because he's related to Obama, or Barry Dunham. Tom Hanks, that's why Tom Hanks is Hollywood royalty. Okay, so Jones is part of this. He is bloodlines of, I wouldn't say bloodlines of the Illuminati, but I would say bloodlines of these extended families. Like John McCain, like Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, okay, Donald Trump, okay. We are not the people. We are not the people. And if you watch Netflix, there's this series on about voting and all this other stuff. We're not the people. We are commoners. Commoner citizens. And that's a totally different classification that really removes you from being part of anything other than just goyim, cattle. I put enough of of Clint Richardson's information up there. Traveled to Utah, hung out with him, broke bread with him, did a couple podcasts with him. The guy, he's one of the most well-read people that I know, and he's figured out that this is a scam. America is a corporation. It is not a country. It is not a country. Now, in the beginning, could you say, all right, well, maybe that was the case, that America kind of started out, for good and all this other stuff. Well, I mean, how can it be when you have George Washington being first cousins with the king across the pond that he was fighting with or going against? The bottom line is that it's been a conspiracy, a land grab conspiracy from the very beginning. Okay? And there was a lot of interesting people. Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, a lot of really, really interesting, well-read people with good intention. Really, really good intention, you would say, because, does anyone speak like that today? Does anyone? There's a small gaggle of people out there that can convey and, write speeches and, heartfelt, well-intentioned, good-intentioned commentary. When you hear a president's speech, whether it was Obama or Bush or Clinton or Trump, it's all written by the money masters, the money changers, what they want you to think, what they want you to know, as opposed to the opposite, the things they don't want you to know, the things they don't want you to realize. And that we are property. We are actual property, stock in this corporation from the birth certificate. And that's the bottom line, man. And lady, men and lady. We are property. And that's what has to end. Or, like others say, you're not going to change the system, you have to create your own. How many people in this system will let you create another system? When other countries and other, so-called leaders that were installed that start to misbehave, whether it's Gaddafi or Hussein or any of these other people, when they think that they're going to do something other than what the big plan is, they get handled. They get addressed. How are we going to address this issue? Well, if he doesn't start doing the global plan set forth by the money changers and the bloodline families, then he or she is going to have to go. And then, of course, we got to start making it look like it's a civil war, like they're hurting their own people. Make it look like we don't do that here in America. We're not going to allow somebody else to do that. Like what George H.W. Bush said, the law of the land, not the law of the jungle. When he spoke about the New World Order. Okay, the New World Order. Really interesting thing last night. Again, on Prime Video, there was a, and I'm gonna at some point, document it and put them on there. Like, check this out. That G. Edward Griffin, who was just recently on the ITNJ, or over the last 6-7 months, was on with the ITNJ. International Tribunal against crimes against the biosphere. The Sasha guy. I don't know if you guys watched that video, but it was a long 4-hour 4.5 hour video, but it was everybody chiming in. And I thought that, hey, maybe that's maybe that'll be something that people can look at and say, these people are getting involved. I'm going to try to get involved with these people, and then we can move in a particular direction of feeling like we're part of something to at least stop the lockdowns and start putting these some of these people away in some way, shape, or form. David Martin with the patent information, talking with Dell, talking with Ben Swan about the patent information, talking with that entire ITNJ group about this thing. But here's another thing that I thought about this is that when he says you can't patent something natural, I've known that for some time. Most people don't understand patent law, but you can't patent something natural. But you can patent something that's man-made, or you can patent something that was made up. And I think that is a very, very good possibility that if this virus doesn't exist, and John Rappaport over, I want to say his last, 6 or 7, 4 or 5 blog posts are saying that the World Health Organization, the CDC, they do not have the virus. They do not, they haven't isolated the virus, which is exactly what that Andrew Kaufman has been saying for months. Now it's become a big enough thing. It's become a big enough, glaringly obvious piece of information that even John Rappaport at this time, who tries to cover everything, on an incident by incident level, and does an incredibly, just a marvelous fucking job at it. He's saying now that it's possible that this virus does not exist because they don't have it and they don't have this. But then when you listen to a lot of these other programs, that they talk about having the genome for it and having this for it and having that. And I suggest that you should, if you really want to know what's going on a number of different levels, the High Wire, watch that program. It's on Roku now, believe it or not. You can download the High Wire app on a Roku smart TV. It's at highwire.com. Goes live every Thursday at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. NoMoreFakeNews.com. Get his blog reports. He'll break everything down. Catherine Austin Fitz. He has done a lot of conversations regarding this with her. I think there's actually one on my podcast listing that people have watched, like over 400. It's probably the most viewed podcast or listened to podcast in my lineup there over the last 6 or 7 months. But yeah, so the ITNJ, anything that those guys put out, the International Tribunal Crimes Against the Biosphere. So ITNJ, International Tribunal, you'll see it. It's in the detailed description of a few of my last transmissions. So the patenting of something that was made up. So there you go. I think you can actually patent something that is man-made. Man-made could be a fictional virus, right? So I think that could be what we're looking at here, is that they've actually, because they've just said, this is what it is, this is what we think it is, this is what we've named it. Everything's fictional. The United States of America is a fiction. It doesn't really truly exist. Just because somebody says these are the United States of America, it doesn't mean that's not like a tree that's growing out of the ground. That's apparent. That's a tree. Okay, if you look over, and you see a tree and then you see hills, that is real. That's natural. You can't patent a hill, but you can give it a name. But that doesn't mean that's the. People will say, "Oh, look at that. That's that hill." Capitol Hill, that's another fiction. So that's possibly what they've done with this thing. They've possibly created a fictional virus, and that's why they can patent it. And if nobody knows, and nobody is the wiser, or if large portions are not wise enough to figure it out, then they can patent it, which could be the case. That just might be the case. And again, I've read, I try to read a lot of, I'm not like a super strong reader, and that concerns me a lot. It really does concern me that I can read something. There's certain things that I read that I can really kind of lock in on. My reading comprehension has not always been something that has been really stellar, and that's a concerning thing. I can read words. I can make sense of them. It's just that kind of like a attention deficit. And I think that a lot of people suffer from that. Just imagine, that the thing that the corporation falls back on quite frequently, which is we need better education. It's all about education. We need better education. It's all about education. Reading's fundamental. Well, when the education system is an indoctrination into lies, that's one of the reasons why it's failed. One of the biggest reasons why education fails is because it's all fucking lies. History, lies. You've got people out there defending Christopher Columbus. Like, I don't really give a shit about Christopher fucking Columbus. I just don't even care. But what's his face? I forget. This guy that was on Fox News. He's kind of a comedian. He's got his own show. Young guy. Wealth, money. He's got money. Started his own podcast. I forget, but he's on there talking about. He's connected to the. Who's that old guy? He's got the foundation or whatever it is. He works with Adam Carolla. I think Adam Carolla is very funny. I'm tuned in. I'm kind of linked into his messages on there, and he says a lot of funny stuff because he's living in Southern California under the regime, under the Newsom Garcetti regime there, and so that's funny. But what is his name? The old conservative guy with the white hair. Anyway, they're all kind of. I'm drawing a blank here. Owen, the Owen guy, the big bear. He was he was like super in that crowd. And then when he started talking about the tiny hats and a bunch of this other stuff, he got rejected, by that group. He got rejected. He used to be on that podcast with the guy, the young guy who was talking about Christopher Columbus and all the things. Like, the left hates Christopher Columbus and this. Like, I just don't even fucking care. I don't hate Christopher Columbus. I just question the narrative of our history because it's just hogwash. That was one of the things that I remember from elementary school was people trying to sell me. And I didn't think of it as being indoctrinated at that time. But now that I look back, Christopher Columbus, 1492, he discovered America. And like, I don't fucking care. I just don't even fucking care because it's all fucking bullshit. I don't care about George Washington. I know that John McCain's his cousin. I know that Barack Obama is his cousin, or Barry Dunham is his cousin. And most likely all of the other presidents are related to George Washington because they love the bloodline thing. This whole bloodline conspiracy, it's a real thing. That's what we should be talking about in schools. How a fictional United States of America was created so that as you plant the seed of conspiracy and deception, you can then keep adding to the fiction. It's like writing a fictional book in the first chapter about this fictional whatever, and then chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, and on up are just about how to do add-ons, like an internet browser has add-ons. Well, it's just a plain browser, but then when I add things to it, it becomes more interesting. Exactly. Well, I got this add-on. I can save my passwords in an encrypted 256-bit encrypted thing, and then I can block advertisements, but then the sites will tell me that I've blocked them, and that if I want to see the content, I have to unblock the blocker. I'm like, I don't fucking care about your advertisements. I don't fucking care what you're trying to sell to me. I hate watching the television and then listening to the commercials that are fucking twice the sound of what the show that you were just watching, the level is. It is absolutely fucking annoying. And it is another indoctrination where we are the slaves and they want to sell us something. Just like they sold us that America is a country. The Judeo-Christian values, all of that shit can suck it. These things should not mean a fucking thing at all. It should be about love. It should be about, if you want to worship, you don't have to go to a church and worship. You can just pray in your house. The Bible never said create a corporation that's tax exempt and then go there and pray with other people. It never said that, but that's what a fictional fucking lying system does. Now, somebody would say, oh, this guy hates America. No, I don't hate America. I hate that people believe the lies, that people have been so indoctrinated with the lies that they cannot go back. They cannot change their perspective. Everything it's all bullshit and it's bad for you. Everyone is full of shit. Politicians, lawyers, doctors, clergymen, policemen, citizens, commoners, teachers, mothers and fathers, they're all full of shit. They've been indoctrinated, garbage in, garbage out. That's what we hear about computer. Garbage in, garbage out. Well, that's all we've been fed is garbage. All we've been fed is fucking garbage. And so the only thing coming out now is gotta wear a mask. Your vote counts. The Queen said this the other day. The King said that. Diane's son said this about Trump. It's all fucking bullshit. This election is bullshit. This non-pandemic emergency is bullshit. I'm not in this with the rest of you. I'm not in this with the rest of you. We're in this together. We're in this pandemic together. No, we are not. No, we are fucking not in this together with you crazy motherfuckers. You fearful pieces of fucking shit. I'm not in this with you. And for those of you that aren't totally fearful, but afraid that you're going to lose something if you don't cooperate. We have ways of making you cooperate, and that's what the mainstream media does. We have ways, and one of them is fear-based mind control. What about the tractor trailers with all the dead bodies? That's what I heard this week when I was having a conversation with a guy. I had a conversation with him because I said, you know what, I'm a political atheist. Well, he was on the phone with me because it was a business thing. Okay? He is a reseller of something, and so he may be able to sell something to me. So we connected, and we did the business, and then he seemed like a nice enough guy. I figured, hey, maybe I can have a conversation with this guy. And I said, this is all an overreaction. It's all a lie. I don't believe it's political. I do not really truly believe that it is about Trump. Why? Because everything is bullshit. They want people to think that the mask and the continuing this and the continuing that is a bit about Trump and getting Trump out. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Because it's all bullshit and it's bad for you. And it's obvious. They have done this so... I mean, if you're not aware, you are going to fall for this. You are going to fall for some aspect of this lie. You are going to fall for some aspect of it. Well, I'm not necessarily afraid, but, I have to, you protect yourself, wash your hands and stuff. Did you never wash your hands before this? Did you never scrub your hands? And you got to do it for at least 30 seconds. If you do it for 20, coronavirus is still there, man. If I sneezed on a guitar pick, is 24 days later still on there? Lies. Lies, lies, lies. Just everything about it. Everything about it stunk from the very beginning. A man who questioned the validity of the coronavirus pandemic died the other day. Oh, he posted online that blobby blibby blue blue. I don't believe this. I don't believe it. I am wearing no damn mask. Man in Ohio died the other day. Maybe he did. He was ex-military. He might have even gotten flu shot. You're never the same again, by the way, after you get some form of an injection. Never the same. Even if a child expresses no reaction to the MMR or any of these other incredibly high number of injections at, between 0 and 10, they're never the same again. There's some kind of damage somewhere, and it's going to express itself later in life. These children's hospitals that are filled with sick children, vaccinations. That's it. End of story. Disease is created. Disease is manufactured. Just like the fake news going way back to Walter Cronkite. And this is the news. This is the news in Vietnam. We're out there and they're raping our soldiers. The Viet Cong are raping them. So we had to blanket them with Agent Orange. Just total fucking bullshit. So again, I'm going to revert back to one of the Prime videos. It was like 6 episodes, and they were all hosted by Mr. G. Edward Griffin, a younger version of him. But they talked about Katanga in the Congo, how Katanga was a thriving metropolis. No, it was a thriving area of the Congo, and there were other areas of the Congo that were being overthrown by, the hidden hand, the money changers, the global financiers of terror. Going back there, I think it was episode 5 or so, but I think there were 6 episodes of it. I'm going to pull it up. It's interesting to kind of watch, because even back then, Edward Griffin was kind of omitting certain things, whether he realized it or not. But like Clint said many, many times about the Federal Reserve, that they said, it's no more federal than Federal Express. Well, yes, it is. It is. It was put together. It isn't just a gaggle of, tiny hats out there that created a bank, and then decided that we are the only one that's going to lend, or the U.S. government decided they're the only one that we're going to borrow money from. No, they are not a private organization. End of story. They are federal. They are federal. That is another complete and total. And I used to believe the same thing, but then when I had a conversation with Clint and we went over any number of different topics, one being the Federal Reserve, and so what did he do? He went and he read and he read and he read the fine print, and he read the fine print, and he magnified it 1,000 times and said, no, it's not private. That's another lie. And that's another lie. So, we've been lied to forever about everything. The United States is a lie. Guys like Mark Levin, who have his radio show, he plays the national anthem. He talks about, people talk about the founders. They talk about this. They talk about that. I don't fucking give a shit. It's a story, just like in Game of Thrones, if you watched it. What was his name? Baelish. The guy who played Baelish was just so good. The Realm. What is the Realm? It's a story. The 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we tell ourselves over and over and over again till we forget that it's a lie. That was Baelish. If you watch Game of Thrones, it will give you an idea of how full of shit everything is. And in Game of Thrones, what was the main thing? What was it was the crown. The crown. The crown and the faith. 2 pillars. One can't exist without the other. And what do we have in this world? The Crown Corporation. And then what is one leg of the crown? We have Vatican City, Washington, D.C., and the banking city, the Masonic banking city of London. And all 3 of those together, linking up to the mothership, have brought about this coronavirus lie, pandemic, because they knew that it was the best plan. It was the best plan to get people to give away rights that they don't even have. Largely, if you're a citizen, you know, if you're a child of God and you don't have a birth certificate, you're a natural child of God. If you get a birth certificate and you replace that natural state with the fictional state, then you're a person and you're a fiction, and you have a straw man or a straw woman. It was really interesting, when I was speaking to Clint before about a couple of things, and he said, when you see a horse, if it's male or female, what do you just call it a horse, right? You don't say, oh, that's a female horse, that's a male horse. Okay, well, that's the same way it is with man and women. Man not human, which is some other form of man. Man also includes woman, which is the female version of man. But of course, what do? Not only to keep everybody off kilter, you keep everybody off balance. We get hit with gender. We get hit with gender politics, identity politics. We get hit with abortion, where the left just loves to kill. They just love to kill things. They were against war for so many years, but they loved killing babies in the womb. I never really had a thought on it. I would, at times, before I was fully aware or aware enough to understand, I would see abortion, people standing by the side of the road, anti-abortion, and I would be like, I wouldn't think, look at those crazies. Or look at this, I would just think, they're against abortion. And abortion is killing something. And I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to put it all out on the table here. I'm driving to work this week, one morning, Thursday morning, I believe it was Thursday. And I'm driving doing the speed limit. And then out of the right-hand side of the road, I see this black and white cat just fucking hauling ass across the road. I mean, laser beam fast. You know how fast cats can be, man. I wish I was as fast as a cat. And so I kind of steer a little bit to the left and try to brake a bit, but it happened so fast that I heard the cat hit the side of my car. And I was just like, fuck. Because there was no way getting out of that. There was no way that cat was not going to hit my car. And I was really, upset about it, because I'm sitting there thinking, was there something that I could have done? Was there something I'm driving and I see pretty good on the road. I've got pretty good vision on the road. Not so much when I'm reading on a computer screen or something like that. But that happens. One day your vision is just like, you can fucking read shit in the dark. You can see stuff. Even if there's a minimal amount of light, you can, at one point you could see. You could be like, words. And now it's just, kind of, if the lighting is not right, it's a blur. But on the road, pretty good. Pretty good. Take a phrase from Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Pretty good. And it just, boom, you could just hear it, man. It's fucking head, its skull fucking hit the side of my car some way, and I'm like, ugh. And then I get to work, and by then I hadn't forgotten about it, but I felt bad that I hurt something. That my car, that me driving, and I was out on the road much earlier than I should have been, and that was my choice, that was my decision, because I wanted to get a head start on the day. But my head start on the day resulted in a dead cat, because there's no way that it survived that. I don't believe. And it was a really, really unpleasant feeling. I mean, I didn't want to be part of that. That cat didn't want to be part of that. Much like I don't want to be part of this lie that is this coronavirus. This lie that they've been bolstering up, with Bill Gates. You see this behind me? This here is going to kill a lot of people. You see this back here? This exosome that your body creates? But no, this naturally occurring thing that we're working on right now is it's going to hurt a lot of people. So just the groundwork. The patents and the groundwork and the patents and the SARS and the MERS. The MERS. Laying the groundwork. The plausible deniability that there was going to be another pandemic. Meanwhile, I don't know if you go back through the archives of, in case you missed the bullshit in this new normal called Nightmerica. I interviewed Lorraine Day, a woman who is probably like 80 years old, cured herself of cancer. And she said to me that there was record of, this was the record in the Burroughs from a story from a dentist. And you can only imagine, if you're a dentist in Brooklyn during the Spanish flu that was most likely injected, okay, that this dentist, who you can imagine knew a lot of people, did not know anybody who was sick or anyone who had died from the Spanish flu. Okay. Now there is one thing that, and this was probably the end of January, early February, I got sick. I ran a fever. And the only cure was more cowbell. I didn't have enough cowbell in my diet. But I got sick and I had a fever. And I was probably sick for a couple weeks. At that time, what was I doing? I was taking magnesium because viruses, or when your body is purging, whatever was happening at that time. And this was before, like, I knew that there was a thing out there because Greg and I in January spoke about the possibility that would come here and whether they would lock us down. But the thing that was really kind of concrete was that they were going to fucking loot the treasury. And so I got issues with my neck, so that, sometimes my C1 all the way down to I think it's a C6 or C7. And then the thoracic starts, the thoracic region of the spine. And so there have been times in the past, like somebody said to me, like I used to wear a laptop bag over my shoulder. And this one woman said, she said, I started having a problem breathing, and then I found out that it was because of this laptop bag that I was using. Because your back, that area of your shoulder that goes to the lower portion of your cervical spine, your neck, to the upper portion of your thoracic, if you get a subluxation or a misalignment there, the nerves from that area go to your lungs. So I've seen that happen before. I'm like, even when I wasn't sick, I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time getting a full, deep, from time to time, a full, deep, satisfying breath of God's air in the firmament. And so under the firmament, whatever. And so I got an adjustment, and then I was fine. Okay, so my neck, when I was sick, my neck has a tendency, just like everything else, it weakens your body. So it threw my neck out to a certain extent, where there was one day or one night, and this was probably even like 2 weeks later or something like that. I forget exactly. But I was having issues getting a full breath or not. And then when I went to the chiropractor after that, sure enough, that whole area, my whole fucking upper thoracic and my cervical were just a mess. So, largely, after I got that taken care of, I was fine. So I was sick with this, and one thing that I noticed was my sense of taste and my sense of smell kind of went wonky. My taste, for sure. But I mean, when you get sick, I've heard people say in the past that food just didn't taste right. So that I kind of equated to that. But weeks later, when I spoke to this young feller at a convenience store for preparedness, he said, I think I had this thing, and my sense of smell and taste went a little wonky for a while. Wonksville, USA. And I was like, yeah, me too. What the fuck, man? What's happening here? So it was, but I'm like, hey, so yeah, no issues? No issues? You didn't, you weren't dying, or you didn't have to go and get intubated? You didn't have to go and get intubated at the hospitals that weren't overrun with nobody? And he's like, no, I didn't. No, I just was sick. I had a fever. And like when my fever broke, man, I felt wonderful. Like Saul Rosenberg, I felt wonderful when my shoes and my glasses fell off, and then I was just standing there like derp. But now I laid there and I was like, wow, man, that fever, which was never really super high, but I knew like, it was like I was running a fever, and I was just like, this is going to cleanse me, man. This is going to cleanse me blood. It's going to cleanse me blood. It's going to kill the pathogens. And I felt really good after it. I really did. There was like an 4 to 8 hour period after I was pretty sure that. And the thing is that you have a fever, and then it kind of goes away a bit, but then it comes back a little bit, and then it goes away, and then it comes back. And it's just a process, man. It's just this natural process that the body goes through. But when these vaccines and these injections, these jabs, your body doesn't work right. Your immune system doesn't work right. And that's what they're doing now. They're making it so that, these flu shots, or these trivalent flu shots that Judy Mikovits spoke about, that were part of the fall flu shot, August, September area, prior to in Italy and in some other areas. This is why they had the mass death of the older people in the elder care facilities and different things like that. And of course, them moving them into sick people into, it was just like, yeah, we have to send somebody who's sick in there so that the dominoes can start to fall. Because their immune systems just cannot even fight off a cold now. I mean, this is how, AIDS and a lot of these other viruses were created, to do what it did. This has been a slow progression to now. Everything that they've seen, everything that they've said. And over the years, you'll go through, I'll go through any number of different articles, or have people talk like, yeah, there's some kind of fungus going on out there somewhere. in the hospital, but nobody's reporting on it. I'm like, all right, yeah, well, that makes sense that there would be something going on. There'd be something going on that could be really, really harmful, but they wouldn't report it. Just, let it take hold, or let it get it, a foothold on society as it, for Depop. And that doesn't mean, taking your dad's life, Depop. And then there's the opposite, is what we've been looking at for the last 7 months or so. The overreaction to something that is not deadly at all. Because they don't want to put something out that's going to kill unless they have to. I mean, that's something that's really going to kill millions and millions of people unless they have to. And then you have to really question germ theory. You have to question the guy from Australia, the bald-headed guy that said, you can't catch a virus. You just can't. You got to be aware. The only way you can catch a virus is if it's injected into you there, mate. I don't know if anybody, if you find folks out there who subscribe to, in case you missed the BS in this new normal called Nightmerica. It's on the video list. Probably got about 140 or something up there now of videos that I thought that were going to be deleted or whatever. But so I got them up there. I'll put the link in there for everybody to kind of go over to that. And you'd be wise to do the same if you have a video or if you see something on YouTube that you want to make part of your own archive or something, because honestly, YouTube is as amazing as it is, as incredible as of a tool that it is for so many people to be educated on how to do something or how to fix this particular computer problem or how to naturally, fight athlete's foot, or just like there's something for everyone on YouTube. But that's why it became so popular. And now it's being used as a weapon against those who are telling the truth. It's being used as a weapon for those who want to not be locked away in their homes for 18 months, and it's still that. And so, you've got BitChute that you can move videos over. I've found the JoshuTV.com is awesome because you just create a free account. You go in there, you click the upload button, and then all you have to do is, you can upload a file directly in the one tab, or if you click on the second tab, it says import, and then you can just put your BitChute video link there, or you can put your YouTube, and I think there's a link on there that shows you all of the different sources that you can bring videos over. Adult sites, everything, whatever gets you through the night. It's all right. It's all right. You can move it over there. There's just an incredible list of platforms, video platforms, and websites that Joshu TV will import over into your own video library. Bring it on over. Bring it in. Roll them out right over there, and then you can share that. You can create multiple sites if you want to create your video, your conspiracy site. If you're addicted to adult themes, you can create that too. You can create one for your family videos. And just share them out to anybody who gives a shite. Can lock and load them. Lock and load. All right, so let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on out there. It's out there. That's the problem. Yeah, and that James Corbett is pretty good. He's got his BitChute site. He puts out a lot of really great videos. He put a lot of those videos documenting, Bill Gates and who he is and what he's doing, and questioning the need for all of it, that type of thing. This has nothing to do with a virus. So let's see. Joe and Jill Biden's income in 2016 was $396,000. And from 2017 to 2019, $16 million. There goes Rappaport's got another blog entry out there over at nomorefakenews.com. And there's Hillary vomiting out some puke, vomiting out her special brand of gastric filth. Name mispronunciations and what it means in particular for Americans of different ethnic backgrounds. Like, it's not Kamala, it's Carmela. So get it fucking right. Because she's coming for you, she already said. Once they do away with Trump, then they're going to come for all the other Trump supporters. They're going to come for you. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do then when Carmela's army's outside your door? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Carmela, she's the gal with the super punch. Carmela, she's the gal, the president gal. Carmela, Kamala, Kamika, Kamuka, Frofrika, Frikadika, Papa Poopa. John Rappaport, the fake COVID coronavirus and the missing study, the secret in plain sight. Check that out. I'm just going through the shitter feed, the things that I shout out into my own shitter feed. Remember, go to the Barrington Declaration. Reddit's censorship of the great Barrington Declaration. They're all banning it. This perverse, it's just this perverse pleasure that these people get from saying, we're all in this together. We're all in this. No, it's not about everybody. It's about your fear of dying. So fuck you. Fuck you. What good is an economy if half your family's dead? 5 months later, I'm so sorry to hear that, you lost half your family to this. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, last time I spoke to you, you said half your family was dead from the beer bug. Oh, no, my family's fine. Oh, so the economy died. So hold on a second. I'm going to go over to the economy and give my condolences to it because it died because you said that what good is an economy, okay, thinking so entirely selfishly, only about yourself, that what good is an economy if half your family's dead? When the family, a family of 5 or the family of 2 or the family of 3 up the street needed an economy to continue with their lives. You didn't need one and you didn't care about it. So you were like, everybody gets locked down. Everybody gets locked inside. Everybody gets locked inside. Lock yourself inside. There's a place to hide from Corona. It's no shame to lock yourself inside. This is going to be a top 100 hit. It's no shame to lock yourself inside. There's a place to hide. Lock yourself inside from Corona. Corona gonna get you. Corona gonna get you tonight. Corona's gonna get you. Corona's gonna get you all right. There's a place to hide. There's a place to hide. Lock yourself inside from Corona. I can think of a sweet guitar solo. Corona, we're gonna lock ourselves inside. We're gonna lock ourselves inside. We're gonna lock ourselves inside from Corona. What about the folks with cancer? What about the folks with AIDS? It doesn't matter at all. Just Corona. Just Corona. 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 There it is, man. It's a top 100 hit, man. It's called Lock Yourself Inside. Lock Yourself Inside. I kind of sounded like Neil Diamond there for a bit. Little Neil Diamond to just to grab those boomers in. To grab the boomers into the mix. Yeah, that guy sounds like Neil Diamond. I love that song. I want to lock myself inside with Neil Diamond. That's what I want to do. It's coming to America. Corona's coming to America. 18 months. Lock yourself away. It's okay to pray. No churches are open today. Corona. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here's the Kamala. I wrote, this is a threat of violence. This is a threat of violence that will be carried out, not by her, but by some crazy who believes this garbage that she is vomiting out. The new Hillary. Hashtag the new Hillary. The new Hillary. Pardon me. And once Trump's gone and we have regained our rightful place in the White House, look out if you supported him and endorsed his actions, because we'll be coming for you next. You will feel the vengeance of a nation. No stone will be left unturned as we seek you out in every corner of this great nation. For it is you who have betrayed us. Carmela Scaris. That's what, if she wrote that, or she said that, that is a threat of violence, and she should not be allowed on Shitter. Circle is complete. BOJ, what is that? BOJ. You know, looking for the rollout of the digital currency. Was written here. It said, breaking news per the CDC, there is no virus at all, and they don't really have a virus. So I would check out that blog. So it's just, you know, you can inform yourself. That way you can look like the greatest intellectual in front of all of your friends. If you have any left. If they all didn't die from corona, you'll be able to be like, you know, Joe was like, he was saying all these things. I didn't believe him, right? But then when this thing when the smoke cleared, you know what I'm saying? It turned out that he was right. I didn't listen to him at the time. And now, my recliner turned into a lawn furniture, and I'm sitting in a rusted out van down by the river. And so the globalist media rags like Time magazine, they sell to the stupid and the fearful their new influential heroes who are actually yes men killers getting rewarded for carrying out orders, blackmailed or otherwise. Anthony Fauci is scum. He's fucking scum. And you've got the Independent over in the UK, more disinformation, propaganda being vomited out to spread fear and enslave the stupid. Coronavirus is killing 3 times more people than the flu and pneumonia. Did you know that? Do you know that lie? Because that's what's not happening. And if you're on Twitter, you can join me in the ghetto slum of Twitter. I'm at Cold Divided. Cold Divided. Follow me. Send me a message. Be a pal. Or a palette. Great article. The government's one-size-fits-all approach is blatant tyranny, and this is clear. Congress and anyone with something to lose sits on their ass and does nothing while irreversible damage is done. They are complicit in these crimes against us all. I think Greg mentioned that when we were on with Checo Shali, the AIER.org, Alpha Internet ErnieRalph.org. Go there. Be part of their Making Sense website. Michigan attorney says, burn your mask and forget COVID emergency. A Michigan attorney said, all executive orders regarding masks, social distancing, and more are now void after Governor Gretchen's. What did she say? What did that fucking tard say? Friday afternoon. Okay, here it is. Oh no, is that not? Hold on. Michigan attorney says burn your mask following the Michigan Supreme Court ruling, says Governor Gretchen Whitmer out of options to appeal. Let's see what we got.
Some in the state still in shock over the Michigan Supreme Court's decision to throw out Governor Gretchen Whitmer's executive orders. Joining me now, she is an attorney with the group Restore Freedom, also the host of the political talk show The Fifth Chair, and she argued the case in the Supreme Court in favor of getting rid of the governor's orders. Attorney Catherine Henry is here. First of all, thank you. I guess congratulations to you for winning. But let's clarify some of this very difficult 100-plus opinion case. First, the way I read the opinion, it seems to me that the Supreme Court's decision was a 7-0, unanimous on the issue of whether the governor has authority. And I think the court said the governor does not have any authority at all to issue executive orders after April 30th. Am I right?
Yeah, specifically, they said that she has no authority on a 7-0 opinion, no authority to issue these executive orders according to the Emergency Management Act of 1976. That was the first part, and that was the part that was unanimous, that she has zero authority under that 1976 law to do this.
So now the governor issued a press release saying that the decision was 4-3. Can you clarify what that means?
She's fucking lying. That's what it is.
Yeah, so the second half, there were two questions that our Michigan Supreme Court was answering from the federal court case. The second question was whether the Emergency Powers of Governor Act violated the state constitution, namely the Separation of Powers Clause, Article 3, Section 2. And so what the court said in a 4-3 opinion in that regard was that, yes, the Emergency Power of Governor Act of 1945 is entirely unconstitutional. So therefore, the governor has no way to rely on that as a source of authority to act on our behalf.
So I don't want to get too much in the weeds right now, but the 7-0 decision, the unanimous decision then, all the justices agreed the governor does not have the authority. Could you just explain what the rationale was for the 7-0, the unanimous decision?
Yeah, so the governor has had some very creative reading skills when it comes to our state laws here in Michigan and the Constitution. The 7-0 decision specifically said that the legislature has to be involved after 28 days according to the 1976 Emergency Management Act. So they did give that first extension on April 7th. They voted to give her another 23 days. And so after April 30th, the only way that her orders could continue is if the legislature voted to extend the state of emergency yet again, which they did not. So the court in 7-0 decision said that very clearly the governor had to get the approval of the legislature to go beyond that initial 28 days, and she would have to get their approval in order to go beyond any first extensions that occurred through April 30th. And they did not vote to extend, so she didn't have the power.
So then, as a practical sense, does the Supreme Court's decision mean that we don't have to wear masks anymore? We don't have to social distancing? Any of those? We can go to gyms and nightclubs and strip clubs and whatever we want?
He wants to go to the strip club,
this guy. Is that what I'm taking from this?
Yes, absolutely.
He wants permission to go to the strip club.
Burn your masks right now if you didn't already. Open your gym, open your movie theater, open whatever business you have. Go and frequent whatever business that you would like to go to. If you have a church that's limited your services because of how you're reading the executive orders, forget that. All of those executive orders based on COVID-19 circumstances from 2020, they're out. They're gone. They're done. There's nothing in place anymore in terms of these executive orders from the governor. And there's been, she's been saying that, well, I had this 21 days. There's two court rules that possibly would come into play. Number one, if she's asking for a rehearing, but she actually, in order to trigger anything, she has to timely file something first. She hasn't filed anything. And me, being one of the attorneys on the case, I would get notification as soon as she filed it. There's nothing come through yet. But also, really what it would probably be is the motion for reconsideration, which the rule on that is MCR 7.311G, which very clearly says the filing of a motion for reconsideration does not stay the effect of an order addressing a motion. And I mean, let's look at Marbury versus Madison back in the 1800s. If we have an unconstitutional law or government action based on an unconstitutional law, we don't have to follow that. It's void. It's void right from the start. So absolutely, throw your mask away right now.
So let me throw the mask away right now. The governor issued a press statement, though, that was pretty clear that she says her orders are in effect for 21 days. So just so I'm clear, you disagree with the governor that her orders are done as of today, not 21 days?
They were done as of Friday at 4:35 p.m. Absolutely. 100% certain.
Burn your mask, you fucktard.
Can the governor appeal this decision?
No.
No, she can't appeal it because the only thing higher than the Michigan Supreme Court would be the United States Supreme Court. But on this particular issue, the only issues in front of this court were specifically about state law and state constitution. And did she violate state law? And did our state law violate our state constitution? Our United States Supreme Court doesn't have jurisdiction to hear those kinds of cases. They could only answer issues about if our state law or our state constitution violated the federal law or federal constitution. So the highest court in the land that can answer these questions has spoken. The decision has been rendered. It's there as of Friday at 4:35 p.m. So she can try and whine and complain all she wants. She's not going to get anywhere because there's no legal remedy for her to do that.
She cannot go to the U.S. Supreme Court. That is not an option for her?
That is not an option for her in this particular case over these particular issues.
Okay, again, I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but my understanding that federal court asked the Michigan Supreme Court essentially for an opinion as to whether or not her executive orders were constitutional. Doesn't the decision now have to go back to the federal judge? And doesn't that federal judge have to do something?
So the federal judge, all he's going to do is take that information and plug it into his case to decide if he can clear up or settle that case, resolve that case without having to touch the federal court issues, the federal statutes and the federal constitutional provisions. And I believe
this guy is a Fox News affiliate, and he's just as annoying as the Fox News affiliate guy in this region. Anywho's, all right, let's take a look at this here. This is Greg. This is our own Greg Cole, and he's going to talk about let the cases be heard and adjudicated, a call to action for doctors. This should. Okay, it's probably going to go past, but...
Hello, anyway. I'm Greg Cole, Chief Executive of Live Well APS. As a physician, dentist, ophthalmologist, veterinarian, chiropractor, or any other elective and non-elective private practice professional, have you been asking, what is the COVID-19 science? Has the virus actually been defined? Have case and death numbers been dramatically inflated? Is there really a pandemic? Why is a diagnostic test that has so many holes that has never been properly validated been deployed? And how many obfuscations has the CDC planted to hide official secrets? Every private practice in America is at the fork in the road, and a decision has to be made quickly. Ignore or endorse what's going on and see your practice fail, probably within the next 12 to 18 months. Or join the fight to defend the scientific method and give your practice a fighting chance to survive. Right now, thousands of doctors all around the world are rising up to defend it and trying to put an end to the lockdown insanity. In Europe, they've inspired millions of people to take to the streets and protest. In the U.S., however, the people have been subdued. The COVID narrative seems to be in full control because so few doctors are willing to speak out, so the world is waiting for doctors in the U.S. to wake up. Fortunately, we have an advantage they don't have in Europe and in other nations, our class action lawsuit system. You're the front line. It's a declared medical emergency, not a weather-related one. And unless you and your colleagues stand together, people will continue to be subdued and follow the insane COVID narrative. There's no legal doubt about the possibility of many class action lawsuits against those responsible for the COVID-19 lockdowns that have caused severe damage to every private practice and the American people as a whole. From politicians on the local, state, and national level to the players at the WHO, CDC, the media, equity funds, hospital and pharma corporations, and more. Civil action is our last recourse because every effort has been made to reason with the perpetrators to open up rational discussions and conversations before any further damage can be done. Unfortunately, All those efforts have failed and have led to even further draconian measures being taken by the political, corporate, financial, medical, and media operatives. But when your voice is heard, people will demand action and will no longer allow themselves to be looked upon as the dumb money. Investigations against the perpetrators of the lockdowns, that is, the individual officials responsible for them, are being launched. Those individuals should have every penny of their net worth turned over to those they harmed financially, and prison sentences for those where it is proven that the lockdowns and associated orders caused physical injuries, including death. We don't expect the proceeds from the perpetrators awarded to match the damage done. We're not kidding ourselves. But if the awards of punitive damages can strip them of everything they have, it could serve as a warning to any further tyrant who may think of doing lockdowns again, unless the efficacy has been proven beyond any shadow of a doubt. So, in reality, it's about getting U.S. citizens and your patients to wake up and shout loudly, no to the new normal. When good doctors stand together to defend the efficacy of the scientific method and the truth is laid out step by step, the people will come to their senses. They cut through their own malaise and the political and media indoctrination. This is even more vital now, since it was announced that President Trump has supposedly contracted COVID-19. After all, the lockdowns and the economic destruction have been visited on the population at large, so let the cases be heard and adjudicated. We're not naive about courts, judges, and juries either. But we know that within the system, there are keen minds and persons of goodwill. Persons who know that the law, as it was once enshrined by our founders, is a beacon and a breakthrough. Below this video on our webpage and in the description box below, you will see a link to a downloadable PDF document that has links to many articles and videos featuring the doctors and lawyers around the world who are leading this effort. I encourage you to read and view all of them, because your brave colleagues need your help and your support. Now, as for what we're doing, we're working with the leading firms bringing the initial class action lawsuits. We're helping them coordinate doctor plaintiff groups and raising the millions of dollars they need to fight the battle effectively. As Tom Rentz with the Rentz Law Firm, a firm that we're working closely with, and the attorney in Ohio who is bringing a class action lawsuit against Governor Mike DeWine, says, facts mean something. A declaration of emergency must undergo scrutiny to determine whether a clear and present danger justifies the declaration. Otherwise, a governor can destroy the Constitution, the rule of law, and human rights by falsely claiming danger when there is none. We would be back to the time of royal edict, with the king's army as rationale. In 2020, lunatic cultural proclivities, media propaganda, medical media collusion, political jockeying, pretenses of science, scare tactics, rigging of facts, and profit motives are in the mix. They produce amnesia about basic principles. The law, when correctly applied, refreshes memory and sweeps away a blizzard of claims and counterclaims. The law comes to the point. So there are no excuses. You must join the fight. Click the Join the Plaintiff group link below and complete the required fields, and a participating attorney in your state will contact you soon to take your affidavit. But what's most important, your financial support is needed by making a donation through our GoFundMe page. Click the Make a Donation Now link below. In addition, you can also help us with a small monthly donation by becoming a member on our Patreon page, where you can view exclusive interviews and content on this subject and more. Support this vital effort to help us reach millions of private practitioners and furloughed doctors all across the nation, and help us raise the millions of dollars needed for the participating law firms to put an end to the lockdown insanity and associated executive orders. How much should you donate? Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, if this battle is lost, most of you will lose your practice. Even the Kaiser Family Foundation has reported that 60% of primary care practices are barely holding on by a thread. This is for all of the marbles. Our way of life is in jeopardy. And if our system collapses and everything changes to the new normal, where everyone is living in utter poverty, it will be because you chose to do nothing while you had the chance to stand up to demand justice, defend the scientific method, and help people that are working hard to end this madness. Our campaign is to speak with every private practitioner in the United States and to mobilize at least 1/3 of them into action to join the plaintiff groups in their state, and to donate up to 10% of last year's personal income. Any donation is appreciated, but I can't imagine any of you thinking this request is unreasonable, considering all that is at stake. Our initial effort is to raise $500,000 to hire staff and cover the costs associated with reaching every private practice in America. which will include a significant professional telemarketing campaign and provide some needed financial support to the Renz Law Firm and others. Phase 2 will be to raise at least $50 million to support our national public awareness effort and help the hundreds of law firms that will be bringing class action lawsuits in their states. Each case could cost millions of dollars to bring, so it's all hands on deck in supporting this effort. We will also provide every donor with a full disclosure of how the money we raise is spent. You've all heard the politicians and the media pundits talking about the Great Reset, the new normal, resiliency, and other word salad terms. But what do these words really mean? They mean you will lose everything you have in the largest transfer of wealth in human history, and a societal conversion to what can only be called a humanitarian nightmare. Don't fall for it. Stand together. Let me ask you, if you lost your practice, what else would you lose? Your home, your cars, your family, investments? Understand this if you're going to get anything. They want it all. You can also get your patients involved too. They all have other doctors they see. Ask them to help spread the word. Did you know that both COVID case numbers and death numbers show evidence of data fraud and a violation of domestic terrorism laws? And according to law, significant fraud committed during a disaster is a felony with a penalty of up to 30 years in prison. The U.S. Department of Justice and every state attorney general should be interested in the possibility of COVID case and death number fraud. What do you think bank fraud, investment fraud, money laundering, crooked safety studies, and massive tax evasion are all about? The Department of Justice and attorneys generals make these cases all the time. They look for false data. For years, the political, financial, medical, pharma, and corporate classes and the media, including the medical media, have been committing data fraud and violating domestic terrorism laws. Your patients should donate to the cause. But what everyone needs to do is send a letter by registered mail to their state attorney general and the federal attorney general demanding that they cease their delinquency of duty and prosecute every single person and entity who is breaking the law for financial gain. We will be posting a template soon to our patient advocacy and private practice channels, Get Out From Under and Private Practitioner Success, which you can follow and subscribe to on social media. Your referrals are important. We're asking you to please provide us with at least 10 referrals and share this cause with those private practitioners you know, network, or maybe just over here talking about their business. Referrals are the foundation of success in this effort. Without your referrals, we will not achieve our mission. We thank you in advance for being an ambassador for this cause. It's very much appreciated. Now, if you're an attorney, you need to join your colleagues in bringing lawsuits. The lawyers that are leading the way want to help other law firms join the fight.
There is only one holistic system of systems. I will MK Ultra ya, put the MK scope on ya. If the MK hits ya, it's guaranteed to open ya. The 57mm Mark 110, 220 rounds a minute, try to stop them. Don't put that on your wish list, that's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. They are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum, some perform shocking on Hanukkah and Purim. That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary for the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They want to sell uranium to Iran. That's enriched, that's a bitch. Now we gotta teach a lesson to them.